Okay, some things that really stood out to me was this idea of a mass destruction in the nuclear power plant because of the constant frequency of an apocalypse in today's world. It definitely reminded me of like I Am Legend, The Walking Dead, like 28 Days Later, some of those things, which have been around for a while. A couple of those are really old. What I found to be really startling was definitely the end of Act Two. It really caught me off guard. I was not expecting a the very quick aggressiveness with Colleen. She was so angry with these two or three guys watching their play rehearsal. I didn't think that was a big deal, but she was very quick to draw her weapon, but they were even quicker to fire theirs. A couple constant themes I saw was the apocalypse, which was like the whole base of the play. The idea that something someday will cause a mass destruction and wipe out the majority or even all of the human race. Trust. The main characters have come together over time with very limited resources, and they trust each other, and they all have these weapons that they carry on them at all times, and they have to trust and believe that one of them won't hurt the other throughout the course of their hard journey. And I guess this idea of longevity, I don't know if that's the correct word, but these Simpsons episodes have been around for 75 years. They keep getting passed down and staying true to the episode. I was kind of confused on what type of play this was. I came to the idea that it was a dark comedy because it mixes both the element of comedy and tragedy, such as the death occurring, but the reenactment of The Simpsons brings the comedy to the play. The play also takes controversial matter in a light way, such as this idea of the apocalypse happening. And finally, there's morbid humor. The final act has gruesome scenes within The Simpsons, such as, quote, he breaks her neck and drops the body towards I or S. And Act 3 relates to the other two acts. Specifically, it's italicized even. It says on page 86, Burns clamps Homer's face in a gesture which should recall Sam's Act 2 comforting of Gibson. So that's just straight out of the play. Another one, the battle with Bart and Mr. Burns, relates to that of Maria in the end of Act 2. And also, I found it says Bart screams, the door opens, and Mr. Burns, spattered with blood, pushes Bart out into the deck. And I thought that was like he screams, he was scared, he was not expecting that. The element of surprise versus when Gibson came out into the woods, they were all kind of caught off guard and nervous as well. Finally, I think A Play Within a Play shows the parallel connection between them, and even 75 years later, Mr. Burns is still the evil villain who doesn't win, like he just hasn't changed. As for stories getting passed down, I don't feel like we share stories that often. It's more like some big event in the news or some sort of social media ticket item. I believe that 9/11 would maybe be passed down through the apocalyptic, I don't even know how to say that, because it is such a striking event in the US history. Maybe we would all need something to relate to in the United States, that is, and maybe telling the story in the aftermath of it would bring people together. But if the post apocalyptic world, okay, did not have electricity, then maybe books would be more valuable. And I would think series such as like The Hunger Games or Harry Potter, because those are really popular now. I think Harry Potter would be more of a valuable than anything, but the Hunger Games would maybe replicate the current lifestyle of those living if they had to fight for certain resources.